Hi guys, I'm Woodcraft Hamster, and I thought it was time we finished carving or finished off our eucalyptus bowl. Now, as you know, this has been several months in the making, mostly for it to dry out more than anything else. Personally, I've sanded it about as much as I'm willing to do. There's a few tool marks still in there, that kind of thing. The oiling and the beeswax finish will remove some of those, or at least mask them. But you know, I'm fairly happy with that, and I'm just not going to sit here for any longer doing any more sanding. And what I think I'll do is, rather than bore you with a really long lengthy process, I might just kind of add a few clips onto the screen here, do a bit of a voiceover just so you can see what it is I'm doing to finish this off. Now, normally with a bowl I would put this in the oven for maybe 15-20 minutes on a really low setting, just to warm up the wood so that the oil will penetrate more so. Unfortunately, because this is a really big lump and you've got a big sort of piece of solid wood on the base here, I'm not going to do that, because even though I'm 99% sure this is dry all the way through, I've sanded it a few times in the last week, no moisture has shown through on the freshly sanded areas, but you never can tell, and I don't want to risk ruining this bowl for the sake of there being a little bit of moisture that expands when it heats up and cracks it. So I'm going to be doing this cold. No massive problem with this. This is not designed to be eaten out of. You know, well, I suppose you could do if you wanted to. You know, this is more of a sort of a serving bowl, or kind of something to keep things like fruit or stuff like that in. But you know, it's not going to do it any harm by doing it cold. So to start off with, I'm going to start by putting the oil inside the bowl itself. I'm going to put quite a liberal amount in, and I'm going to sort of move it around, get everything to give a good coating, and I'm going to leave that for an hour or two for it to soak in, just to sort of start penetrating some of this thick layer of wood, and I'll probably end up doing that several times. And really, it's just making sure you get a good amount of oil in there, and that you're constantly spreading it around so that it doesn't pool in the bottom too often, and just keep moving it around until it's all soaked in. Normally you will be able to tell very quickly and very easily whether or not it's still sort of soaking in, you know, or whether it's kind of stopped and you've kind of saturated it. Once I've done that, I'm going to put down a piece of grease-proof paper on my carving stump, and I'm going to start doing the first coat on the outside of the bowl. And essentially it's much of the same. I'm going to give it a good liberal coating, leave it for a little while, wait till it's soaked in, give it maybe a little bit of time just to sort of settle down, and then put another coating on. You can do this over a series of days. I tend not to bother. I tend to try and do it all in one go, and just kind of as soon as it's all soaked in, and just put another coat on, basically. Moving on from that, I won't bore you with showing you how I make my beeswax finish, because you've seen it before on my channel, but I'm going to make up a little batch of my beeswax and oil finish, start applying that all over the bowl, and really I just want to sort of rub that in fairly strenuously, just to get a good coating on there. Again, give that a little bit of time, and then buff it off with a cloth to get that kind of high shine. That's my plan, that's what I'm going to be doing, and by the magic of editing I can now come back and show you what the finished bowl looks like. And there we have it, guys, the finished bowl. Now, I know this has taken a bit of a marathon to get to. You may also notice I've changed since the last clip. I actually took a little bit longer for the oil to soak in than I thought. But I'm really pleased with this, guys. You know, it was a real sort of mammoth carve. You know, obviously I was doing it bit by bit as time allowed, but you know, hopefully you can see, you know, the way the oil and the wax really sets off the grain of the wood. I'm really pleased with this sort of band around the top, which kind of also features on the inside as well. I've left some tool marks in there, mostly through laziness, let's be honest, but you know, I think this is a really nice looking little bowl. You know, you can use this for things like serving, you can use it as a fruit bowl, you know, use it for 1,000,001 different things really. Now, being honest, if I had to do this again, I certainly wouldn't be using eucalyptus. It was quite a tricky wood to carve with. It was nowhere near as difficult as I thought it was going to be. You know, a lot of people really do try to warn you off of things like eucalyptus, more for the risk of splitting. We had a couple of little issues in there, but nothing major, which was great. What else was I going to say? I'll put a little clip up here in the corner. It's quite cold out here in the workshop today, so as I was applying the wax, it started to harden up really quickly. I just got my propane torch out and just very gently melted that down. If you're going to do that yourself, make sure you're in a safe place to do it, and don't leave the heat on any one place for too long. Just literally sort of just glide it over. It worked out really, really well. So that's it. I'm going to call this a wrap for today, guys. You know, I hope you've enjoyed sort of coming along with this carving. You know, it's taken a while, as I've said. You know, and I deliberately wanted to do this in a real step-by-step, and it was just the fact that it's such a big lump of wood. It took much longer than I thought to dry out, but you know, we got there in the end. So I hope you found this useful, guys. Hope it's maybe inspired you to try and make something like this of your own, and that's it. So comments and questions in the box below. Hit like and subscribe if you'd like to see more, and I hope you'll all join me next time. Cheers, guys.